Hello, and welcome to a very, very special episode number 50, a big 50 of Just Chillin'. I am one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I'm your other host, Andy Bell. And on this 50th episode of Just Chilling, we have an extremely special guest. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, can I please introduce you to the amazing, nay, the magnificent, nay, the spectacular Mr. Chris Hall. Hello, buddy.
Bloody hell. Yeah, I'm
There he is,
fine,
the
mate.
artist.
I don't know what I've done to deserve such superlatives. Is that the right word?
That's the right word. Mate, it's still got the holiday vibe going on, so I'm in a good mood.
You know what we're
Excellent.
about, and you keep coming back. That's why it's like he should know better, but he sticks around.
Everyone else says no.
What, to me coming on their pod or to coming on this pod?
To go on this pod in particular.
Or are you saying you're the only guys that will have me? Is that what it is?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, how are we all doing, gentlemen? I am going to do a quick round robin before we do. We talk about our week, what we've been up to. But Sean, you well? Did you have a great Christmas?
I did have a good Christmas. I've had a good week, pretty uneventful. Can't complain about much. I do have a pinched nerve in my arm, so that's fun. I feel like I sat on my arm, so it's like numb in my forearm. That's fun and exciting. Had a good Christmas. We did low key this year. We didn't go anywhere. Got some cool stuff that I'm excited to share.
Nice.
One of them being, I'll share one of them now. I got a Lego fox. It's like I'm a big fox. And he also turns into an owl and a squirrel. They won't be those. It'll be the fox the whole time. So that's fun.
Nice.
Got some other cool stuff. But yeah, man. Oh, before I go any further, I keep forgetting to mention this. Big shout out to Sal Perales for commenting on all of our episodes on Spotify. I keep forgetting about it because Spotify does not make it easy to find them. But hey, appreciate the feedback and the comments. So yeah, there's that. But other than that, my week's been uneventful.
So we'll go into the, excuse me, my nose is running, so I'm going to dab it very gently with a tissue. So before we go into news of the week, what you picked up, what you've been watching, the rest of it, how was the rest of your Christmas? Show us some of your toys. Did you get any toys? Did you get anything?
Me?
Any goodies? Yeah.
I got that Lego fox that I just showed you.
Yeah.
I got this book. It's called The End of the World from an artist I like, Don Hertzfeldt. You've probably seen his animations on YouTube like 15 plus years ago. He usually does like funny stuff like these with little stick people and little.
Right.
Look them up. That's a good time.
How did you spend Christmas?
At home. And then partially at home. We to go into food talk, just food. We made some orange rolls. We did that. We made that from at home. We then we FaceTimed with the family, did all that fun stuff, and then we went skiing the second half of the day, since the ski resorts were dead. And then we went and did that.
Nice, excellent.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Chris? Did you have a good Christmas? Did you have how was your week in general?
Great, mate. Yeah, we've had a lovely, lovely Christmas this year. I'd say the last handful of Christmases have been quite hard with the loss of some close family members. But this year we've really embraced it, and we've had a really, really nice, small, tight-knit Christmas, and it's actually felt like Christmas again. So it's been great. It's been really good.
And did you get spoiled? Good or what?
Well, spoiled the kids like mad, obviously. But yeah, Santa. I've somehow made it onto Santa's nice list, and yes,
Excellent.
got a few cool bits.
Nice. And Jackson, did you get a world's bucket of Pokemon cards?
Yes, he got a plethora of Pokemon cards, singles and packets, and the lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
So-
been a very Pokemon Christmas.
And how did you spend it? Was it just the four of you, or did you was it a large affair?
No, we had my parents for Christmas dinner,
Nice.
and Michelle absolutely smashed it out of the park and cooked an absolutely incredible meal.
Nice.
And yeah, it was nice. It was
Excellent.
good. We spent
That's good.
Boxing Day yesterday with Michelle's sister and their kids. So yeah, it's been good, mate. Yeah.
Excellent. So we had quite a low key one actually, because obviously there's a lot going on at the moment with health and stuff. I do have a story which I think is funny, which I'll share with you. So Christmas itself came and went, really, really good, really, really good. My sister, because of the health stuff that I shared with you guys last week, my sister's popped over from Australia and she came over to help, and that was nice, which meant that it was kind of very, very low key, but quite a little bit of a larger Christmas than we expected. UC Spokes came over and they did the decent thing as they always do. They came, they gave presents, they ate, they left. They're fantastic. They're the best guests. They really are the best guests. Honestly, they're absolutely superb. Meanwhile, I do have a bit of a funny story to share with you. So, as I shared last week, few medical things going on. So there's a bunch of stuff going on with me at the moment. I'm on some prescription drugs, and let's just say that the prescription, now that I've come home and I'm prescribing from home personally myself, they got the prescription wrong. So essentially, out of a certain painkiller that I was being given, that rhymes with morphine, I was being given 3 times the dosage that I should have been given. So yeah. So funny story. I woke up day before Christmas, maybe 2 days before Christmas. My family were doing the right thing, and we were medicating as we were meant to be medicating. But I was over medicating a little bit, and I found myself surrounded by paramedics after a very, very comfortable 6 or 7 hours sleep, which I thought was fantastic and had no problem at all. But the rest of the family were a little bit worried because I was non-responsive. So that made it interesting. We're waking up and just surrounded by all of these consummate health professionals that were all looking concerned over me. And I was like, "All right, boys, what are you all doing here?" Little did I realize is that in my, I found out that, obviously, I found out later on that the prescription or the guidance that we were given was wrong, and everything's all balanced out now, and everything's all fine and everything. What I didn't know, and I had to be told by my good lady wife, is that as I was coming in and out of consciousness throughout this episode, apparently I was saying the most strange things to these paramedics. One of them being that I complimented the paramedic on his strong, muscular hands, and commented that he must make a very, very satisfying lover. Apparently. So yeah, I've got that to live. That was a story.
Raising up the paramedics over here.
I beg your pardon?
You're raising up the paramedics over here.
Yeah, exactly. I really don't know where that came from, but it apparently came out of my mouth. So
Did
that
you
was
go
that.
full Neil and be like, "You can live with me"?
Yeah. But apart from that, it was very, very low key. Got spoiled a little bit, Robin. there's one in particular. My sister and I never because we're of a certain age, we don't typically exchange gifts. But there's two I'm particularly chuffed with. One is my wife decided to jump in and because it's highly likely I'm going to be sat on my ass for quite a while now. She got me the Lego Chewbacca. It's the 2-foot Lego Chewbacca.
Nice.
Because I'm a Chewbacca guy, she got me that. She tends not to satisfy my habit or to feed my habit, but I think circumstances being special, she's gone along with that. But my sister, bless her, she found an old vintage comic from 1980, I think it is, of the original print run of Empire Strikes Back, and it's one of the first editions of the Empire Strikes Back that she got from me, and it's all mounted up and everything, which is going to take pride. When I'm back in the cave, it's going to take pride of place there as well. So that led to, I feel particularly spoiled this year, and I'm grateful for my family for being so bloody eggs. But yeah, so apart from that, very, very quiet indeed, and loved every minute of it. So, guest first.
Quick jump in real quick. Since we talked about Christmas, any day now, I don't know how international shipping works. A small Christmas gifts are going to be arriving for both you guys at Andy's house soon. I don't know when it'll get there. So yeah,
nice.
Don't set expectations low, not high. Set them low. But yeah, and it's not C3PO, I promise.
Oh, I was going to say I fully trolled like the last package that arrived for me. Sean, thanks.
I've gotten the feedback. I've taken it under consideration. Like, all right, no more C3POs. Got it.
Thank you.
We're at edge. Look forward to that one. So what we normally do now, Chris, as you know, is we now launch into an hour of what we've been watching, consuming, etc., and talking about the news. But what we'll do very quickly, because we've got a very packed agenda for you as our special guest on our 50th episode for today, which we'll talk about in a second. Anything in the news? Anything you've been watching this week? Anything in the news that's tickled your fancy? Anything that in particular that really has rocked your world that we can kind of talk about for 5 or so minutes?
Mate, I think you've listened to enough episodes of Scuffies to know that I don't look at nothing on the news, and I'm off the grid as far as the internet, and have my finger off the pulse with.
Well, okay, what have you been consuming? Come on, what have you been consuming? It's been Christmas. So, what have you been watching?
Me and Michelle, not designed or planned, but we've somehow consumed all the Jurassic Park films and all the Jurassic.
Nice.
We've just got the final Jurassic World, the last one, to watch. Which we can't find on streaming anywhere without, I think it's like £8 or something off Amazon. So we might bite the bullet and rent it before the Christmas holidays are over. But yeah, I watched the first one, and then we watched Lost World together, and then number 3, and then obviously went on to the Michelle and Anya got rather excited when the Chris Pratt ones arrived. So yeah, that's all right. It's been fun. They're not bad, them films. They're all right. Obviously, the first one's a bloody classic.
Absolute classic, yeah. I was listening to the Scruffers the other day. Am I right in saying you'd never seen number 2 before?
Yeah, I'd never seen Lost World. I thought I had, but I'd never had. Yeah.
That's mad.
I don't know how that... But I think, obviously, in 1993, I was 13 and still living presently in the world. And in 1998, I would have been 18, and films would have been far off the agenda for a few years around that time.
Yeah,
which is probably why I never saw that one. But yeah, I've got those that listen to Scruffies will know I've got terrible taste in films, and so I like a lot of rubbish films, which is why I liked all the Jurassic Park sequels. I thought they were all right.
They're entertaining.
Yeah.
They're not as I tell you what, you already know that Lisa's quite the monster fan. She loves everyone. We have everyone. We have
Excellent.
everyone. What about you, Sean? Did you consume anything over the break?
I made some stuff. I taken the so just bacon. I tried my hand at a what is it called, a Christmas an English Christmas pudding, whatever it's called. I don't know what. Correct me if I'm wrong there. That was
Nice.
but those are quite rich, if I must
Yep.
say so myself. I cut an American sized slice for myself, and that was too much. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I think I wish those would kind of pick up more here, but instead of some of the other stuff we got, I thought it was very, very tasty. It went really well with some ice cream, which I know is sacrilege probably, but I didn't have anything else. And I'm like, this is a little much by itself. I probably should have made something to go with it, like something, I don't know. So I had...
Do you have brandy? Do you have brandy on it?
Oh, there was an absolute shit ton of brandy. Inside of it, poured on top, lit on fire.
Lit on fire.
The whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah, there was a lot. As I'm making
Nice.
it, it's just like brandy just in the face the whole time. That's like, oh, this is... I get it.
Little-
I see why this is nice.
Little. Well, it's not even a fact. It's just a little anecdote. My mother-in-law makes her own, and she makes two every other year, and she makes one for the current year, and they're so pickled in brandy that the other is good for the following year. So she'll use the second one, and typically the older one is significantly nicer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that later on, but it's like, oh, you should make it a couple days or something ahead of time so it has time to sit. And I didn't do that. I did it and ate it the same day. But it's now that we're eating like leftovers of it, it does seem to be better as time goes on.
Yeah. Just keep adding a little bit of whiskey every now and again. Keep hydrating it. Keep hydrating it. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
So I did that. In terms of consuming, I watched the Muppet Christmas Carol, the full version. Everybody knows I'd watch that. I watched it, and it's I'll save everybody the diatribe that I have regarding that absolute masterpiece.
The proper
Watched
version.
it twice this year. Watched it twice.
So good. It's classic. Love every minute of it.
So
I have no news, and I have not watched anything else besides that cat YouTube channel with all the cats on it. That's all I've watched.
The only news I have, guys, it's pathetic, is that the Superman trailer finally came out. So if you remember last time we spoke, I kind of couldn't work out if the Superman trailer was the teaser trailer to the Superman teaser trailer to the Superman trailer. It finally came out. Looks okay. I mean, DC's not my thing. Superman's not my thing. But that's the only news I've picked up in what I would say is our world in the last week or so. In terms of watching, I probably more than any other year not watch hardly any TV or any films at all. Although that said, we have had stuff on in the background, and on in the background, we've had the usual Home Alone. We've had Scrooge. Got to have Scrooge. Last week, I'd already seen Christmas Carol, as you know, Muppet Christmas Carol, and today, I must admit, I did sit down after eating probably my third helping of what's left of turkey and ham from Christmas Day. Ended up settling down to Wally, which is one of my favorite things of all time. Apart from that, I haven't seen a thing. Not a thing. Chris, you know all the typically in the UK you normally get the Christmas specials on BBC of certain things like Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of that stuff yet. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't. There's one program that I watch on normal TV, like throughout the whole year, I'll talk about it later. That's the only thing I've watched over Christmas.
Right. Okay.
Like, as far as I don't watch normal TV anyway. I don't watch any soaps. I don't watch nothing like that.
Fair enough.
I live on YouTube, so
Same.
yeah.
Fair enough.
I've got no interest in EastEnders special or bloody Gavin and Stacey or all that crap. Yeah.
No.
I live on YouTube, and I don't think I'm going to share my YouTube watch history with the people on the podcast. I think I'll keep that to myself. Like, you start to look at it, and it's like, I don't think I need to talk about this. You can see the history, you see the rabbit holes you go down. It's like, I didn't realize I watched 3 hours of how the pyramids were made. That's fun and exciting to talk about every week, isn't it?
I think that boy needs therapy. Right, so we are on subject 2. So we've had another drop of Skeleton Crew this week. Episode 5, I believe, it was this week. So we've only got 3 left. Quick thoughts, and I'll start with you this time, Chris. Quick thoughts of this week's Skeleton. Actually, no. Sorry, no. We haven't had you on. I know that I feel as if Scruffy's is a kindred podcast, but all up at the moment. Just give us your elevator pitch on how you're enjoying Skeleton Crew.
This show gets better and better, and it feels silly to say, but it might be my favorite Star Wars content in the Disney era.
Not silly at all. At all.
Only 5 episodes in. It's yeah, I love it. It just makes me smile, and it makes me feel like a kid, and I laugh out loud. I love all the characters. I love where it's going. I love the sense of adventure. I love that it's not pandering to. As someone with kids aged 10 and 15, forgot how old my kids were then. That's fine. Over the last 15 years, I've consumed a ridiculous amount of children-orientated content, and I love that this show doesn't pander towards children like a lot of shows can do, and doesn't speak to them like children, if that makes sense. Was that even a sentence?
Children in the derogatory sense. It's like it doesn't talk down to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids shows that talk down to kids and don't think they're actually as smart as they are, when I can tell you kids are very smart and are in 2024 are very turned on to the world at large. But yeah, that's a different subject. This show's fucking rad. Sorry to swear. This show is awesome. No. I love it.
You can fucking swear. That's all right.
Okay, cool. This episode, episode 5, this might be my favorite episode so far. Yeah.
It's your work. It's building, isn't it? It's just getting better and better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Sean?
Yeah.
Top line, episode 5. What do you think?
I mean, I was trying to stay quiet while Chris was saying it, because I wanted to let him, feel it out. But I'll say it too. This is my favorite episode of Star Wars television. Period.
Nice.
It's across the board, across all the shows. It doesn't have larger implications and all that stuff. Like, there's other episodes that I like. Another thing is, like, there's other shows that I love, but there was something about this episode where I loved it from the second it started all the way through. There was not, like, it is the epitome of, like, what I love about Star Wars, period. Just loved it, end to end. Every minute, I could speculate about it. I was laughing out loud the whole time, and just, like, feel good, feel bad, like, just all of it. Perfection in my book.
Nice. So back to you, Chris. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I I've spoken wax lyrical about how I feel about this program, particularly this time of year. I mean, you couldn't have timed it better than at Christmas, and particularly at this moment as to what's going on with me personally. I mean, it's it's a fantastic show, and I just love the fact that it drags kicking and screaming all of the hate and the discord out of that there possibly could be about Star Wars at this moment in time. I just absolutely love it.
I love that it's giving us a story that I think we need and not what the fans are asking for. That's what like unapologetically. It's like, it doesn't care about how they got from Ad Akron to wherever else, or like, it doesn't give you all the waste its time with the fluff. It just is. It's just, we're like almost back to like normal television and storytelling. Like, and I think this last episode I've heard a couple people comment on it. It's like, oh, how did they get Smee back on the ship? It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's on the ship and he's tied up with Rose. Like, I love that they're just, it's a story.
They carried it. They already kind of addressed that in an earlier episode when they talked about how did he get the keys from the cage, and they said, magnet, string. It's like, who cares? It's that kind of stuff. So Chris, go back to you. I'm really sorry if I interrupted you, mate. But when you say that this is kind of like your favorite Star Wars, I mean, you and I were pretty pumped around certain parts of Ahsoka, for example, when we spoke about it, when we reviewed it a few times. I think I'm with you. This just doesn't come with any risk or any kind of, well, in my mind, expectations, and therefore everything kind of feels new. Everything's new. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with how I'm currently feeling as a Star Wars fan as well. And how I've disengaged quite a lot from the fandom and all the bullshit that comes with it over the last few years. And this is exactly what I needed to kind of reignite that. Not that it needed reigniting. I love Star Wars and I love it till the day I die, but do you know what I mean? Sometimes it can, as much as anyone, it can really it can bum you out. You're like, why am I so down on this thing that I love so much? And that comes with all the crap that comes with it, doesn't it? If that makes sense.
There's usually strings attached, and this feels like there's no strings attached to it. You can love
absolutely
it, not like it, and it's not connected to everything, not just in story wise, but fandom and expectations and all this other stuff. It's like watching new, fresh Star Wars.
Yeah,
for the first
100%.
time again.
And having made a conscious decision to distance myself from any kind of online discourse or interaction with that crap, this has just hit exactly as it needed to at the right time. Like you say, it's perfect timing this time of year, how I'm feeling in my life, and it's just a joy to watch every week.
Okay, no, I'm with you. So this week we kind of catch up after. So let me try, and I'm trying to do this. I mean, there are some consummate podcasters out there that would prepare, but we go back to a Tatooine, don't we, at the very beginning, and we see the dad trying to get the codes to get a signal out of the barrier. Do you think that there's a point to that? Is there kind of a point to that, or do you think that our protagonist, our heroes, are already on the way back to a Tatooine anyway? I don't. The only scene I felt was a bit. I don't know why we're here, or is it just simply to set the scene that the parents are trying to get hold of the kids? Either of you.
Go on, Sean.
Well, if you're asking me,
Let's not try and do this. Let's talk about that. I'm trying to do it in a structured way. This is a stupid idea.
I think it's. I kind of had that same thought at the beginning, but it's like I feel like it's setting up a finale, like the big shit show at the end. Where it's I feel like they're gonna get a message out, and it's because I keep coming back to this. Is like, why would they have shown the X-wings and like the New Republic, like if they weren't gonna like come back in some way? And I feel like that's the start, and then the parents getting a message out is gonna get the New Republic to like show up. It's gonna be like pirates, New Republic, and just chaos of some kind at the end. That's what I feel like it's setting up.
Okay. All right. So bearing in mind that was my one and only attempt at trying to introduce some kind of structure into what we saw this week as some sort of review. What was the most stickiest part of the entire episode for me? For me was that I thought the humor in this episode particularly was fantastic.
Brilliant.
The idea that they're going to, the idea that they're going to this pirates secret place to get the location and where it's going to attack it, and it turns itself into it's actually a health spa, which I think is absolutely doing it. I mean, honestly, I said it last week with the guys over at Spelt Out. It feels like it's written by the same writers that write for The Simpsons. In that you're creating a children's program, but the humor, or Pixar, let's say Pixar, the humor underlying this is very much adult-like, and that just made me laugh. It made me laugh when they came off the ship. And they were talking that language to each other. The rest of it. Brilliant. How sick was that? How sick was that? I mean, I can imagine an entire wave of Star Wars fanboys turning in their grave at that moment in time with that kind of humor. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, Chris, from your perspective, what did you like most about episode 5?
It's just more fun.
Yeah.
for those that listened to Scruffy's last week, shameless plug. Ed asked if I'd got any speculation or predictions, and my speculation was more fun, and I couldn't have been more right because it just can't stop smiling when I watch this show. And afterwards as well, when it went off, I was gutted. I was like, gotta wait another week. And the fact that my wife's loving it as well, brilliant. But there was a few things that stood out for me. There was massive Goonies vibes this week. I mean, they'd said that in the build-up to the show that it was going to be like Amblin vibes with Goonies and Stranger Things in space and all things like that. And there was real massive Goonies vibes. Some this week as well were really on the nose. But I'm having too much fun not to even care. Yeah. Like, when the booby traps are in, that was literally a scene. We've watched Goonies over Christmas, and it was literally a scene from Goonies.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is great. More creatures. I'm a creatures guy. So there was creatures for me to feast on this week. I got a Moncal and a Biff in the background at the spa. There was a hut. I've got to say, it's the best scene. Even though it wasn't practical, it was the best CGI hut we've ever seen on screen in Star Wars to date.
Yeah.
Like, best well executed. The octopus dude with the giant moustache, mate, he I don't know his name, but he was just rad. The guy that helped him out. Yeah,
the Lovecraftian Cthulhu monster that smashed the floor open.
I'm here for it. I'm all for it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just fun, innit? And a nice little surprise, Kelly MacDonald turning up as a new character.
Yeah.
Pocket bounty hunter. Rad design as well. Really hope we see more of her.
She looked amazing. I hope they didn't burn her with acid, right? I mean, she wasn't caught. They called her. No,
I don't think she was in there. No,
you don't burn Kelly MacDonald with acid. She's coming back. My prediction.
But going back to and this is the reason why I think it's really smart storytelling. it's the incidental stuff at the side. To your point, Chris. It's the stuff going on in the background that's got nothing to do with the story. That just make me laugh so much. The hut scene, the server coming up, where the hut ignores all of the food and actually starts picking him up to eat it. Oh, not again, not again, sir, not again. It's just,
that's what made it. That's what made it feel like real Star Wars. Because if you watch like the special editions or anything like that, the story is broken up with just silly side things like that all the time. And like this is the first episode that I feel like of any Star Wars television that I feel like has nailed that kind of filmmaking or like filming. It's like, oh, it's not just all we got to smash as much content as we can into 45 minutes and then tell every little bit of the story and fill in all the gaps. It's like it's fast paced, but they're also they've left room for silly stuff like that of like a hut eating the servant or just other oddball things like that. It's like that to me is like this is the best encapsulation of like Star Wars, like
it's world building, right?
The feeling,
it's part of world building. Yeah. What did you make of Space Dude's turn? I'm asking. Still
asking me.
I hate it. I go back to professional mode again. I screw it up.
Yeah.
What did you make of Space Dude's turn?
So I know there's a lot of our friends have been talking about how like, you know, we're all expecting it. We all know it's going to happen, but I can't help but get a feel like it doesn't feel like it's a genuine like turn to me.
All right.
Like it ties into a couple of things. So like I wrote a note of like, what if Jod betrayed them sooner to protect them from something similar happening by other pirates, taking the lead so that way she's not challenged by somebody else or whatever, like whatever pirate thing there is. Like he's leading, like he still has the same goal and whatever. And he wasn't actually going to kill her, et cetera, et cetera. He was kind of making a point based on stuff that had happened earlier in the episode where they're all like slapdicking around, playing pillow fight and all this other stuff, being kids. And like, it was hilarious. But to me, it's like, the more I sat on it, I'm like, dude, I think he's showing them the gravity of the situation. He's like, oh no, I challenge you. I'm taking over. Like, you need to take this seriously. Maybe not the best way, you know, communication's always better, but I think that's what's going to happen. It ties into some of my other theories that I'll save for later, though.
Do you think this is a play? You don't think this is?
I think it's 50-50.
Okay.
He's not a good guy yet. Like, he still wants his treasure, but I think I need to be captain was coming from a place of like, he's tired of messing around, but he also wants him to take it seriously. Like, it was good, and like it wasn't as ill-intentioned as what they made it seem like. That's my feeling that I'm in right now.
Chris, do you reckon Space Dude's going to come back as a good guy?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to get a redemption arc there. If this is not a play and it is real, we'll get a redemption arc like that. I mean, he's already shown. That was a great little scene between him and Wim, wasn't it? Where Wim was upset and Jod tried to like shake it off, and then he was like, You got that scene of him like sighing, and like you saw him shrug his shoulders. I better go back and talk to him. But he didn't actually give him any good advice. But the fact that he turned around and was sympathetic to him, we're just seeing that little bit of him. He's starting to get that they are actually kids. It's quite clear that he's not had a great childhood.
Yeah.
So that's why he can't deal with the kids very well. But
I'm with you.
Great. But yeah, I think we'll get a redemption arc from him.
I think,
and he'll come good. He's like a Jack Sparrow, isn't he? He wants to be a bad guy, but he's a lovable rogue, isn't he?
Yeah. It's so thick with tropes from everywhere else. It's like it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
I love it.
It's like the most loaded ice cream sundae you've ever had in your life. Brilliant. Really brilliant.
But not in a pandering kind of way. It's more of an homage kind of way. I like that.
Yeah, then absolutely. I said, well, again, I said to the boys last week. It's like it's like it's the best kind of written young adult, because I don't want to call it children, because it's targeted at children, but it's got that young adult kind of writing sentiment to it. But it just so happens to be, it's a great adventure. It just so happens to be in the Star Wars universe, and we're fucking lucky they chose to stick it in the Star Wars universe, because it could be anywhere. This kind of story could have been done anywhere. So yeah,
a coming of age adventure. That's what the bucket I'm putting it in.
Say again, sorry, mate.
A coming of age adventure is what the bucket that I'm putting it in.
Yeah, absolutely. So when do you reckon they? We've only got 3 episodes left. Well, we've got 3 episodes left, and without saying, how do you speculate? What would you speculate? Where do you think we're gonna go? Not speculate what the story is, but what do you reckon's gonna happen actually? So the next 3 episodes, because in theory, there's a race on now to get to At-Atin. So the pirates know how to get there. The space dude knows how to get there. So surely there's just going to be a race on now, right? No?
I'll let you go first, Chris.
Chris.
Mate, I'm just speculating it's going to be more fun. So Sean, answer this.
I feel like when he made the voice and was like, I mean, I'm not saying like speculate, but I'm not trying to speculate. I feel like that was directed at me. Like, hey, Tim, we don't got an hour and a half to hear Sean's speculation, so I'll keep it quick.
Go on then. Oh, Sean.
Starting with number 1, I think the kids are going to meet up with Pocket, Kelly MacDonald, because I think she's coming back. You don't get an actress that big and a character design that freaking awesome.
Yeah.
To just have her not be there. I think she's going to get stuck with them, or they're going to get stuck with her, and they're going to go on the chase. And they're kind of like, it's like the show is literal tropes, just trope, like in a good way. And it's like, that's going to be I'm going to be with like the bad guys and go after the guy who everybody thinks is bad, but he's actually good. Yeah, blah, 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 all that stuff. On the race to At-Atin. Before then, I do think it's interesting that I haven't heard many people talking about like Smee's demeanor change after he got like unlocked. Like he's not as like dim-witted anymore. Like his memory's back, and now he's a lot more aggressive. And I think that's very interesting now, of like how he's just like trying to, like, he's more of a pirate now and less of a dim-witted kind of like robot who I don't remember At-Atin. Oh, rah, 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 rah. Now he's like on a mission, it seems like. I think that's cool. So my speculation that's not speculation. Chris mentioned the conversation with between Wim and Jod. That stood out to me in a way of like, it just seemed so out of place with the rest of the episode. So here's my speculation. And also the hologram scene where it's like all blurry, where it's like, why is it blurry? Why is it not showing us who he is?
Yeah.
My speculation, my theory that I don't have a lot of hopes hung on is, I think the pirate is actually Jod's dad. And I think Jod is actually on a mission to try to track down, like he's got the trope of like, oh, my deadbeat dad who was a pirate, I need to go track him down and find out what happened to him. And I think that's why he was so disappointed. He's like, oh, it's a mint. Your treasure is a money making factory. I thought my dad was like this deadbeat pirate trying to find treasure, and he settled for a mint. And that's also why he was like, oh, just let him go because their parents suck. I think that's what's happening. That's my theory. Probably wrong, but
why hide his face?
Because I think it's going to be revealed later. Because I think we're going to get the reveal that his dad is the supervisor. And then they're going to show the supervisor first, and then they're going to do the reveal.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Okay.
And I think it's going to become a whole showdown at the end. I have no idea how it's going to.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
Do we have time? So I've got some questions. It's not so much. I don't have anything to speculate. I'm a little bit like in the Chris camp at the moment, in that I'm just I tell you what, I am watching this on repeat like you wouldn't believe. I did it back to back today, and obviously I was looking forward to the pod this evening, but but I actually watched it on back to back today as well. But I've got a question for you. Do you think that, bearing in mind the race is on now, the race is on to get to Ataten, do you think we've got time to bump into Hondo Hanaka?
I don't think so.
Not enough time for Divergent? No.
At the beginning of the series, I wanted it. I was like, oh, I want Hondo to be involved. But now I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay
busy?
with it not. I
Yeah.
like what they're doing personally.
Yeah. Okay. It's all right. I just thought that I thought that maybe we might have a. I don't know. I really hope this isn't I fear this is going to be a one and done season, and I really don't want it to be a one and done season. I want it to be something else. I was hoping that we might use the last 3 episodes to kind of plant seeds for what comes next, or even after. Do you know what I mean? Okay, no worries. Anything else, gentlemen, you want to add on episode 5 of the Skeleton Crew?
I've got one thing. I loved the lightsaber tease. When he picked it up, I was like, no. I actually said out loud, no, I don't want this to happen. And the fact, I was just so glad that it was a gag and not an completely unnecessary hero moment for Wim. It was perfectly executed. Because I was like, no, I don't need this. I almost expected if they'd have played the Force theme as well, I'd have thrown up. But it was brilliant.
The Wim nobody moment is what I was calling it.
It was great.
I have to add to that because that reminded me of like KB is still my favorite. The whole scene with the wrench and everybody doubting, being like, "What are you gonna do with that?"
Yeah,
Just,
bang.
KB rules. Like, such a good episode.
Actually, we do need to, thinking about the last 3 episodes, we do need some time to find out what's going on with KB, right? There's something going on there. But to your point in an earlier episode, Sean, there is something about her kit that is unique to her, and we don't have that story.
She was quite concerned, weren't she, about something to do with those spars and like the fumes and stuff that it gave off.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been in the camp that I think they're trying to portray a kid's Star Wars version of like a childhood disability. I don't think they're explicitly saying what it is. I think they're trying to keep it vague. Like it's like an accessibility thing. Her
right.
Her rig, her gear. And so I wonder if they're keeping it vague and like it's going to be a story plot point of like, oh, is she going to like fake being dead and then save the day, which would be sick because KB's my favorite, or something. But I hope they continue to keep it vague because I kind of like that they're not. I like when they don't explain everything. It's like there's something there, but you don't get it. It doesn't matter until it does. It's like I do like that.
Yeah. She's a close second for me, Sean. I'm sorry, mate, but
oh, it's fine. You're on Team Neil. Team Neil's got a lot of people.
I can't help it. I mean, episode 4 was his episode, and he shone brightly in episode 4. And until further notice, he's still my number one.
I mean, it makes sense. That's where you got your like rizzing skills from, like with your paramedics. It's like I think you were inspired by Neil with the little French girl, and then like paramedic was your little French girl.
If I'd have said that, I think I wouldn't have no limbs left at all. But yes, you would be right, dude. Okay. Any final thoughts before we move on to the main subject of this evening's pod? Any final thoughts on episode 5 of the Skeleton Crew? No,
it was rad.
It was rad.
It was just that it's just funny how we all consume content differently, and the more I talk, like I've been talking to Star Wars people now for like 6 years, and the more and more I do it, the more I realise what a crap podcaster I am, because I watch Star Wars content and I'm like, yes, there's a Monk Owl in the background. Woo! There's a Biff over there. And Sean's over here coming out with these sick theories about John's dad and shit, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? This is so good.
This is dude. No, but I think it takes not to toot your horn, but like I think that's what's nice is the balance. It's like sometimes you need people who are just like, dude, I loved it. It was sick. Did you see that cool thing in the background? Like, there's times where I get so stuck in my own head of like, I love theorizing. I don't hang any hopes on it. If I'm completely wrong, who gives a shit? I like the idea of the stories, but when you have people who are like, did you see that Biff in the background? Did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see the Eopie fart? I'm like, no, I didn't see that because I was in Sean daydream land of like trying to see where it's like, dude, I have a note here. This is how ridiculous it gets for me sometimes. I wish I could just sit back and enjoy things sometimes. I had this harebrained ass theory. It has to do with everything altogether because somebody was like, oh, how does it connect to the Mandoverse? I'm like, dude, how funny would it be if Plagueis wasn't actually dead? Because we saw the Bith in the background. Or not the Bith, the moon in the water, the banking claim. What if he actually isn't dead? And that's why, and it's actually connected to the Mandoverse. And like, what if the cancellation of the Acolyte it's like a misdirection, and season 2 is going to come back later on because he's not actually dead, and they're going to introduce him here. And blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I wish I could stop. I wish I could stop this. It's a problem. It's a sickness.
I love it,
mate. You are an agent of chaos. You've been seriously. You do this all the time. You do this all the time for me. All the time, I keep getting these emails and these little DMs saying, "Wouldn't it be funny if that was Rey's mother or something?"
If Mon Mothma hooked up with Cassian and gave birth to Rey's mom, watch people lose their minds.
Yeah. You know, sometimes just sit back and do a Chris and enjoy the bit. Just enjoy the bit.
I have got a question for you guys, if that's all right.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just quickly, just out of my own curiosity, as two people that are a lot more plugged in to fandom than I am, what is the general consensus of this show amongst the, for want of a better word, community?
Well, as far as I can tell, I mean, I must admit, I've probably been a little bit more distracted than normally in recent weeks. But as far as I can tell, it's really good. But don't forget, I came off. There's a certain social media platform that I'm no longer part of either. So I kind of, all of this landed at the right time for me, Chris. The kind of the right time of year. Yeah, the right time of year, the right subject matter. I come off X and start ignoring an awful lot of hate speech and all that kind of bullshit. So it's all. So I would say, as far as I know, as far as I can see, Sean, back me up here, man.
I think I'm in the same boat. It's like I don't have shitter anymore, and the stuff I do see on Blue Sky, it's like I'm not seeing a lot of discourse. I see a lot of like super pro Neil, like everybody's like, Neil's my spirit animal. And then just a lot of conversations about everything else. It's like, I think it's positive, and I think that's another thing I'm loving about it. It's like my discourse that I'm getting from it is from like my friends' podcasts. I'm not seeing constant bombardment of like, with other shows, like Madison will usually come in and be like, what's the deal with XYZ show that's currently on TV? Why is everybody so pissed? I heard about it from a coworker. I haven't gotten that with this. It's just like, I think people are enjoying it. So people are not super talking about it all the time. I don't know. Except for Neil. Neil is my feed. Just top to bottom.
Love it. And Andy, I know you talk to the Aussies a lot. Is all good over there, yeah?
Yeah, they seem to love it. They seem to absolutely love it. I mean, especially, I'd say, especially the more the older guys. The older guys. I mean, Turbo, for example. I mean, Turbo's Turbo and you share so many likes, and his love of everything ambling is very, very clear. So yeah, it's right in his wheelhouse. They seem to be good. They all seem to love it. Absolutely love it.
Sweet. I'm just curious is all. After Ahsoka and Acolyte, I've really had to like unplug myself.
I mean, Acolyte.
It's for my own sanity. So
yeah, some of it was so divisive, wasn't it? It was it was weird, and but yeah, as far as I know, it seems to be landing quite well. And certainly even if people don't like it, I don't hear there's not enough noise to actually penetrate my bubble of blissful ignorance, if you like.
As it should be. Cool.
As it should be, yeah.
Love
so
it.
moving on, guys. Moving on to the main event. Now, the main event is typically when we have a guest on, we typically talk about something that's close to them. Now we've already had Chris on, and we do actually have a follow up of we had Chris and Kev, his buddy Kev, on recently. We were talking about collectibles, and we do owe them a follow up session on that because we didn't even scratch the surface of that particular conversation. But because we're coming towards the last show or the last episode of 2024, we thought we'd do a quick roundup, keeping it positive because, of course, we are just chilling. But we thought we'd do a quick roundup of 2024 and review one or two things that were really in our wheelhouse. So I've got a few questions. I can go from, depending on how long it takes, I can go from a couple to more than a couple. But the point being is that I've got a couple of questions. I'm going to ask these guys, what are your favorite X of 2024 and the reasons why? So it's really, really simple. It's really, really straightforward, but we're going to have a little bit of a celebration of 2024, if that's all right with you, gentlemen. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So first, I've got to start with our guest first, but I will mix it up.
And then we're going to speculate for 2025. Right, guys? Right?
And then,
More fun, man. More fun.
We're going to get Ed on the call. Anyway, right. Easy one first. Favorite TV series of 2024, Chris, please.
Well, you say this is an easy one. Before you even ask any questions, I just wanted to preface it with me as an individual. I don't consume a tenth of the content that you two guys talk about on a weekly basis.
Let's be real. It's Andy. Andy watches an obscene amount of content.
I'm aware of some massive shows that have dropped this year, and they are on the watch list to watch. But like always, I'm so late to the party on so many things. So the things that have come out this year that I have watched probably wouldn't make anyone's list other than Skeleton Crew.
But it's what's of what all right. Let me reset the question of what you've watched.
Yes,
of what you've watched. What has been your favourite watch of 2024 on the TV?
Regardless of airing date. It could be from the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't do that, Sean. There's a piece of me I can't do that. I can't say that the best thing. It's got to be released this year. So, Skeleton Crew is the thing I'm enjoying the most at the minute, as we've just talked about. But outside of that, season 2 of Rings of Power was just fucking great for me. Good. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely loved that show. I thought it was the best upswing from a season 1 to a season 2 I can remember for a long time. Can't wait. I just hope I've not got to wait 2 years for
season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rings of Power I would say as a TV show, like a streaming show. My favourite thing, bar none, to watch on TV, quotes, is Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse gone fishing. It's my favourite TV show to watch. It's
That's brilliant.
such a wholesome watch when the world at large is just full of noise and screaming. To see two elderly comedians who are absolute legends, like in British comedy, quiet, all that noise, sit on the bankside and talk to each other as two best friends.
Yeah.
It's just such wholesome TV.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, really clever as well, because it gets the kind of viewership that wouldn't engage with each other on mental health issues, and they sprinkle that in their conversation. And I just think it's really, really clever and such a wholesome thing. I love that, and that's the best thing I've watched all Christmas as well. The Christmas special on Christmas Eve.
Mate, that's brilliant. I think I didn't think remotely about answering the question the way that you have. And I thought it was brilliant. And I agree with you. It is a cracking program. Absolutely cracking program. Good answer, mate. What about you, Sean?
I made
sorry.
note of that because I'm going to look it up because I'm not familiar with it. So that sounds like right up my alley. I like that. For me, I thought this was going to be an easy question, but it ends up with the most bullet points just because I can't make a decision. Skeleton Crews, obviously, I think that goes without saying. So I'm ignoring that one. It's shifted quite a bit in even the last 24 hours of doing this. I think I'm landing on Shogun as my top for the year.
Oh,
I think that is, but there's also some contenders of the Penguin. I liked it. It was good. But Shogun was so good. Agatha all along was really good, and Sunny was really good as well. But I think Shogun takes the top pick for me.
that was my honorable mention. And so good answer. Mine is it's Fallout. Mine is Fallout. I enjoyed the game as a younger man, and while I would say that Shogun is in terms of production values, in terms of acting, in terms of everything about it, is by far a grander affair, and really, really a lot more worthy of the accolades that it did actually get, and the Emmys that it won. In terms of what was within my wheelhouse, it really was Fallout. I love the take that they had on. Well, I appreciate when someone can actually do a decent video game TV adaptation anyway. But the way they did it was great. It had the right kind of stupid, thick pulp humor. Do you know what I mean? When it came down to the violence and the bloodshed, and the whole, I love that kind of future past type of Bakelite aesthetic as well. So for me, it's going to be Fallout.
I'm surprised Arcane Season 2 wasn't on your honorable mentions.
Yeah. We're going to round up Arcane another day, but don't get me wrong, it's up there. But all in all, in terms of what I saw, it's going to be it's a contender, Arcane for sure, but it's not number one. Okay, Ron, starting with you this time, my friend. And this I expect put a little bit of thought into it. So, favorite purchase and or collectible of 2024.
I struggled with this. I really struggled with this, and I know there's something obvious that I'm missing, because do you realize how hard it is to try to remember all the stuff you've purchased in a year? I'm like I don't even know what to do. Do I go to my email? Do I go Like, how do I even, because you look around, I mean, you can see my office. It's like, well, what did I buy this year? Well, so I can tell you what's not on the list. It's at the very bottom. I'll start with that. Edible glitter is not on the list. That is horrible. It was a mistake, and I wish I could take it back. Because I know I talked about that previous episodes. It was stupid, and it got everywhere. You think it's not everywhere, but it's still, it's on my laptop. I can see the glitter here, and it wasn't even around when I used it. So yeah, don't buy it. It's dumb. My favorite purchases. So I'm kind of stuck on 3. I could rapid fire them really quick. One of them is the Shin Hati wig. I think that's the gift that keeps on giving, and I love every minute of it. It's still up here. Love it. More serious note, the Japanese print that I got in Vegas of Ray and with that, I love that art print. Freaking awesome. Love it. And the other one is my Lego wreath that I just finished building the other day. The one, this thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks good. It looks good.
That was a fun build. Madison and I built it together, and we take turns. Like, she will grab the pieces on one page, and then I put it together, and then the next page I'll get the pieces out for her, like prep it so she can put it together. It's a really fun build to do with somebody else, and I think it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
I'm sure there's something I'm missing, and I may get reminded of it.
Listen, at the end of the day, this isn't an extensive list. There's always next year. So for me, it's easy. And I owe an awful lot of this to our friend Chris on the blower. My favorite purchase this year has I wish I had it with me, Chris. Sorry. I just bought a PVC protective case for it. My favorite purchase of this year is the bootleg Chewbacca.
Nice.
So Chris is holding his in his hand, basically a bootleg or a crossover between They Live and Star Wars, and it's a bootleg zombified Chewbacca that is. I mean, Chris had already got me down the rabbit hole of bootlegs in the first place anyway, but I met the guy that worked with Chris to create this stuff. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's taking certainly pride of place in the den when I get back in there. What about yourself, Chris? Favorite purchase?
Firstly, mate, that makes me so happy that you've... I love it when people, like collectors, get to a point where it's like, I'm not interested in all this mass-produced shit that comes out anymore.
Yeah,
it's niche things that are like independently created by people with actual talent. I love that. So, that was horrible, isn't it? I'm not saying that about myself because I did the packaging. What a dickhead! You know what I meant. You know what I mean.
I really like when people support me.
Yeah, you can edit that, mate. You can cut that out. Fucking hell, I'm not into that shit.
I think we knew what you meant. You know, we can read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah, cool. And I just want to say, Andy, Anya has recently binged both seasons of, is it Arcane? What is it? Arcane?
Arcane?
Yeah. And absolutely loved it. Like, says it's one of the best things she's ever watched.
Oh,
and
brilliant.
She tried multiple times.
Brilliant. That's good. That's good.
Just like a father likes a good cry at things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Rad. Right, favourite purchase and or collectible. Well, those that heard me on the last time that I was on this pod know that I'm an avid collector, so this is quite a hard one to answer. So like Sean, I've got 3 answers, but I've split it into categories. And I'll just whiz through them very quickly because these are like the 3 main things or areas of my collecting interests. So
I have them I have ideas in my head. I'm trying to see if how correct I am. I'm like, go ahead. See if I'll tell you how many I get right.
Favorite toy purchase of the year is this Ultimate Warrior figure, Series 3 in purple chunks made by Hasbro in 1992. Hunted this down for a long time. Never thought I'd find one under £50. Found one for £5 within 10 minutes of being at the toy show. And I actually cried when I bought it. And Kev says it's one of the best like purchases interactions he's ever seen because I was just so stoked to get it. Yeah, that's where I'm at in my life. I cry over buying Ultimate Warrior toys. Moving on.
No, I'd be ashamed of.
Second category, vinyl. Am I right, Sean? Were you right? Were you guessing? Yeah.
That was one on my list. I didn't think that was gonna be the top one. I totally forgot about the whole story about you immediately asking to buy it, and the guy was like, "Well, I would have charged you 10 for it if I knew it was that special for you." Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
Sick. Toy, Ultimate Warrior, vinyl, a random album that no one's ever heard of by a band called Dig. It's their self-titled album from 1993. Had it on CD since I was 13. Never thought I'd find it in England on vinyl. And I did do. And again, got quite emotional when I found it.
Nice.
Wicked. Category 3, artwork. Has to be. I'm quite an avid collector of art and posters. That's got to be my Return of the Jedi 30th anniversary Japanese variant poster by Matt Ferguson.
Nice.
That would be my 3 favourite purchases of the year.
I thought there was going to be a Godzilla in there, at least. And I thought there was going to be that oddball tongue-looking oddball pop toy thing you got at one of the fairs. It was like a weird monster-looking thing. So I was wrong. Yeah,
This thing.
There he is. That's it.
That would be up there. But yeah, cool.
Nice. That's a good list. Good list. I like the categories.
There's stuff I collect that I just think's really cool.
Mm.
But then there's things like I get emotional about things. So things that have got like a little connection to me, and get me excited.
Well, that's why we collect it, isn't it? Yeah.
I'll
always
put above. I talked about this on there before, but this is going off piste a little bit. The favourite thing, I've got some ridiculous things in my toy collection, some really expensive things, but my favourite things are like things that people have made me or little modified toys that my son's like drawn on and things like that. So sweet.
That's
Cool.
me.
Sorry.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Sean, it's you next.
Favorite movie?
Oh shit! Sorry, mate. Sorry, I had to move very quickly then. Yeah.
What are your? Oh, you've talked about it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right, you talked about Chewbacca.
My Chewbacca. My.
We all blacked out there for a minute.
The rat hole that I have dived down, which is the world of bootleg. Yeah. So, next question. Favorite movie of 2024. Now, I have a long list, a relatively long list of favorite movies of this year, and I'd say my runner-up would have been Furiosa, but my number one has to be Dune Part 2, and that's a personal thing. I appreciate it's not going to float everyone else's boat, but it's very much a personal thing for me. I love the books. I love the literature. I love the lore behind it. I love the whole sweaty, sticky, messy, dirty politics of the Frank Herbert world. And so I think what Denny did to turn that into a movie, or like a second part of a movie, was an absolute work of art. And so yeah, that's my number one, which moves me on to you, Chris. Number one, please.
Again, I don't consume as near as many movies as you guys, but I actually had to fire up a list like this afternoon. I was like thinking about this. I was like, what films have come out this year that I've actually seen? And I didn't fare too badly. It was all right. I'd seen some stuff. I'm going to do some shout outs first. Alien Romulus, loved that. Deadpool versus Wolverine, absolute joyous, silly fun. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I told you I'd got really bad taste in films. I loved that. I thought it was great. Kids loved it. Anytime I take my kids to a film and they love it, brilliant. And this is just the stupidest film probably of the year, Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which is just ridiculous, but so much fun. But my favourite movie of the year is Furiosa, a Mad Max story, hands down. Visually, just ridiculous. So I could live in George Miller's like crazy post-apocalyptic mind on screen forever. Just give me more of that, more of it. And I thought Anya Taylor-Joy was just fucking brilliant.
She was brilliant, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was
Brilliant.
great. As was Chris
Yeah.
Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth was
Oh, mate.
brilliant.
What was that about? I really fear we're not going to get any more of that. I'm really
Yeah, so
worried.
do I. It just didn't perform as it should have.
No.
It
No.
didn't even make I think it was like 168 million budget and it made like 170.
Yeah.
So it just
Yeah.
broke even. So it's just such a shame because he's got a third one like all panned out and lined up, hasn't he? But
And it's with Tom Hardy as well, isn't it? Maybe like
yeah,
the continuation.
yeah,
of
I
that.
think so. Yeah,
Gotta have it. Let's pray to the lords of, I don't know, Miller, that you can get the cash to put it together. What about you, Sean? Number one.
So I got some honorable mentions, same as everybody else's. I too had to look up a list of what movies came out this year because I was like, what? What? I mean, I can't put some of the retro stuff that I've watched, you know. So same kind of honorable mentions: Dune, Deadpool, etc. So, but my number one as well was Furiosa. That was my number one pick, with a close second as Wicked, as we all know and love. That's right there with it. Yeah, it was kind of weird when I looked at the list of like movies that came out this year. It's like I thought there was more. Oh, in Wild Robot, I thought that was a good honorable mention.
Yeah, that was awesome. Have you seen that yet, Chris? Wild Robot?
no.
Well,
if you like to cry, it's a
it's a good movie.
I love a good cry, mate. Love it.
Like if you're in that, if you like, trying to think, it's kind of like if you like things like Wall-E, you'll love this program. It's only this film. It's really good, really good. Well, James, we've moved on faster than I expected. Which sorry, go on.
So sorry, Andy. I don't want to derail it, and
Not at all.
I just wanted to mention I've written down. Obviously, I didn't consume that many 2024 films. However, I have this year more than any. I have watched a stupid amount of films, and I just wanted to mention my favourite thing I saw for the first ever time that didn't come out in 2024, and that was easily by far the best film I've seen this year, and that's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes,
nice.
excellent.
How that film has eluded me until now at age
Excellent.
44 is ridiculous, but just phenomenal.
Well, tell you
Sorry.
what. No. While you're coming clean on that, have you managed to get around to Escape from New York yet?
I haven't, no, because it's on the pile. It's on the pile of Blu-rays that keeps piling up. Like I've got more. I've got this big list on my phone, and I keep ticking them off. Like when I see them cheap, I'll buy them, and the pile's getting higher. And I've got more added onto the list from Christmas. But and obviously, with time off at work, from work over Christmas period, you think, oh yes, I'm going to dive into this.
Yeah.
Really excited to do it. I went out for the day when Michelle decorated the house.
Yeah.
And she's plonked the main tree in the living room right in front of the cupboard where I keep all the Blu-rays. So I can't get to any of them, like over the festive period. So I can't watch any of these films that I'm dying to watch until the tree gets put away. So hence why I've watched all the bloody Jurassic Park films. I think it was massively strategic because the more Blu-rays that turn up to the house, and she's like, oh, great, another John Carpenter film you're going to make me sit through. Or, brilliant, Child's Play 3, fantastic.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Bless her. We salute you, Mrs. Hall. Well, put it this way, when a tree comes down in January, you've got a treat there because I would love to. When we do part 2 of the collectibles with Kev,
Yep.
I hope we have a chance to talk about at that point. Get a chance to talk about Escape from New York, because that for me is on a par, not quite the same as The Thing, but it's on a par with The Thing. Right.
Nice.
Next question. We are now moving on to something that's a little bit more, almost a little bit more cerebral, but favorite gig, con, or experience of the year. So, Chris, we're back to you starting off.
Oh, okay.
You do a heck of a lot more than I do when it comes down to getting your ass out of the house, going to gigs, going to conventions, basically skullduggery out there. What's been your favourite experience of the year?
Well, I've answered all 3 of these, Andy. So
Really?
I've got favourite gig, con, and experience. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Go on.
Well, I'll go with gig first, and like always, I've got some shout outs. I see some amazing gigs and bands this year. Just want to shout out Goat, who are a Swedish psychedelic. I don't even know how to describe them. They're just phenomenal. It was a gig I went to quite recently, actually. Not expecting much, and just absolutely floored. Brilliant. Also want to shout out Idols, who are probably one of the most vital bands in Britain right now. Saw them 2 nights on the trot. The second night was just absolutely phenomenal. Made me feel absolutely alive, and why live music is such a great experience. Also need to shout out Tool, because they're the greatest band ever.
Yeah.
It's such an honour every time I get to see them. But my favourite gig of the year, which I actually spoke about recently on Scruffy's, was a really, really special event down in London, and it was a tribute to the late great Mark Lanigan, who would have been turned 60 this year. He died 2 years ago, and all his musical friends and collaborators got together and put on a special, very, very special event celebrating his life and his music. And Mark Lanigan's my favourite singer of all time, so
Nice.
it was very honoured to be there and see that, because the lineup of guests was just ridiculous. So that was my favourite gig of the year. My favourite con of the year, I have to shout out the BP Toy Fairs, because they're just such great events every time we go, Andy. They're just so good.
Yeah.
But my favourite con is the ToyCon UK, which is a really, really small event in London, and it's basically all like the independent artists and independent creators. There's not many vendors there.
Well, you spend a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
the
worth
one where
it.
I get like the crazy Japanese Safubis from, and all the bootleg resin figures and things. So it's just really different. It's really niche. It's such a cool scene. So much positivity there. All the artists are really friendly, and it's a scene that I'm kind of got a toe in. Hopefully that's
Nice.
going to be more than a toe in 2025. So that's great. Favorite experience of the year? I've got two that go like hand in hand. I took Anya to her first ever gig on her birthday, and it was the same venue that I went to my first ever gig at when I was 15 and she turned 15. And it was just this fucking sick experience to share that with my daughter. And equally as great was I got to meet all the hobbits, which was fucking rad. So I met Elijah.
On your wedding anniversary?
Yes, on my wedding anniversary, I took my wife to Liverpool Comic Con so I could meet all the hobbits. I forgot about that little bit of extra information, Andy. Thanks for that. So yeah, it's no secret that alongside Star Wars, Lord of the Rings trilogy is like up there for me and a massive part of my fandom. So that was just really special, meeting all four hobbits at the same time and sharing it with like one of my best friends who's also a Lord of the Rings nut, which was great. And I got to meet Jay and Silent Bob in the same day, which was great. So yeah. It's been rad. Sorry, waffled on a bit there.
No, mate. This is fantastic. We're celebrating the good. Listen, we had this conversation before we started. Sean and I were talking about this before we even kicked off. We started recording this evening. If you go into the media, we try really, really hard on this pod to look at things positively and to try and find the good things that are out there. And if you go into any kind of media list of 2024, it's so drab and depressing. The more the merrier, man. The more the merrier. Sean, what about your year? Tell me what your favorite gig, experience, or thing was.
So I didn't really go to any cons that I would put on there. So I didn't, like Chris, I have a small list of things because it's hard to pick just one. Con is not on there because I don't think I really went anything notable. But in terms of gig, I feel like I was really, really lucky this year that I got to go to some really memorable concerts across the whole spectrum of things. Some of them were for myself, some of them were for Madison, and just I'm really happy I got to be there. The big ones for me are my When We Were Young and Tahoe is for Lovers. I got to see some bands that I haven't seen in 20 years or ever got to see. And I'm really liking this trend where they're doing like album playthroughs, like that whole trend. That's kind of a thing. It's like, oh, we're going to play our debut album from beginning to end, and like songs I've never heard in live ever. And it's like, dude, it was just perfect. Those were fantastic. I got to see Beartooth this year, finally in concert. And I was at the show where they recorded their live album. Fucking phenomenal bands. Like, they're not for everybody, but it was like, I got like the last ticket late because I didn't know they were there. I'm like up in the top rafters in the back seat, but like, so I'm not in the crowd, but I'm so glad I got to go to that. It was a killer show. And then to round it out, once that I went to for Madison as gifts, but they were just incredible shows, and that was the Casey Musgraves Deeper Well tour, and I also got to go to the Taylor Swift Eras tour. Just ridiculous, like on a scale and magnitude of a concert I've never seen before. I get the hype. I'm not like a Swiftie, but it's like I see what people were talking about when they go to that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like, holy shit.
WRA, 35 years from now, you can say you were there.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those events. Fair date, mate. That's a good one.
So,
No,
I'm not done yet. You can hold on there a second, mister. I got my experiences. One of them. Top experience, starting the podcast with my good friend Andy Bell. That's number one experience. Also, visiting the boys in Maine. That was a fantastic time. I got Jimmy hosted a dinner, and Ed was there, and it was a good old time getting to hang out with those guys. And then, yeah, that's it. Now you can go. Those are my top experiences.
Oh man, you're gonna make me well up now. God, good God, we're episode 50, man. We're 2 weeks away from a year.
Yeah.
We've done it every week for a year. We're gonna have to think about what to do. We're gonna have to think about what to do. Wow. Wow.
We should waffle for 2 hours and just release.
What? Just for change.
Yeah, just to mix it up.
No,
just mix it up.
To mix it up a little bit. Okay, no problem.
I won't speculate that episode. I won't have any speculation.
So, my favorite gig, we didn't do, Lucy and I went to quite a few gigs this year, but we didn't do anything that I would say was a favorite gig this year, apart from our kids. There was a local festival in where I live in the UK, and it was the first time that our kids joined us. So our kids joined their old mum and dad at a festival, and a lot of old bands there that no one will know, and I don't particularly like. However, there were a few bands there, like Chris. I don't know if you remember Stereo MCs and
Of course you do,
people
mate.
like.
You got to get yourself connected, Andy.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. There were, and the kids got to see their old man getting down, and we had a good time. And similar to yourself, Chris, it was an experience that I had with my kids, even though my kids have been going to gigs now. In fact, I've been driving them to gigs for years and years and years now. The first time they experienced it with us, we were camp.
Yeah.
We were doing the whole festival stuff as well. So it was a really, really good crack. And I wouldn't say it was the bands or the music so much as the actual experience itself. Con, it's the Toy Fairs. I beat no other. I've never experienced anything else like the Toy Fairs before meeting you guys. And again, it's a very amateur setup organization, sure, just to set expectations. These Toy Fairs are literally trestle tables with people's stuff on it that's to sell. But the vibe is great. The catches are amazing. The rarity of some of the stuff that people are willing to get rid of is insane sometimes. And I get to share it with, two buddies of mine that I've met, that I've made in the last year or so. I just love the whole thing. And then lastly, experience. We had a good summer. We had a really, really good summer. And I had an extremely good holiday this year with the kids. And you know that we enjoy a little bit of sailing and stuff. And there was one particular day that the four of us had the boat. And it was just everything was right in the world, if you know what I mean. And especially with a little bit of self-reflection that's going on at the moment, in my mind and in my world. I think of that as being, for me, the perfect day. And I won't go into any more detail than that. I'm not trying to be overly soppy or anything like that. It was just the perfect day of me and my family, and almost like almost like a slap on the back. Yeah, everything's all right. Everything's all right in the world, and it was that particular day. So now this one's a bit hard. It's a little bit obscure. This is the last question. This is question 5 of 5. And it's purposely obscure because I thought, well, actually, we're never going to get around to this. So, but we are. So, luckily, you don't start it, Chris. You're going to start it, Sean.
Shit.
Yeah.
What's
your favorite world event? So, what has happened? What has happened in the world? Bearing in mind we're trying to think of all the positive things that have happened, which may actually be somehow drowned out by a lot of negative things that happen in the world. What's the one event in the world that has made you smile, made you laugh, made you cry? What's been the most meaningful thing in the world going on in 2024?
So I was really hoping that I could lean on everybody else to see what they answered, to see if I could piggyback on top of that. But since I can't, I have some answers. I feel like there's a cat in here eating something. There is. There's a cat eating a plastic bag. Get out of here. Okay. My answer is, so one of them, my less serious answer is Mudang, the pygmy hippopotamus. I thought she, I don't remember, whatever. They brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, and it was a fun meme for quite a while. Just really distracting things. Mudang was really nice, but a more serious one that sounds like a negative at first, but I think it's led to a lot of positives, especially for me and of things. And that is the downfall of Twitter, which sounds like a negative, but I think all of the positive stuff that's spun out of that, specifically, I think some of the things we talked about earlier. Blue Sky's been a positive force, but I think it's just ripping the Band-Aid off for that, like, not being able to just mainline that negativity all the time has been a huge positive for me personally. Like, we can all try to break an addiction, but when the addiction is like kind of forcibly removed, it's like, it's a lot. My whole worldview has changed since just deactivating my account, and it's different. It's a huge change for me. Those are the two big ones for me.
Good for you. I like that. That's a good wholesome answer. I love that. Right. So I'm next, and I thought long and hard about this.
Oh, don't make me go last.
It's tough. It's really, really right. Sorry, man. It's tough. It's really, really tough. However, what brought a smile to my face this year was the Olympics, and in particular, Snoop Dogg at the Olympics.
Nice.
Snoop Dogg at the Olympics was my highlight of the year. The Olympics, I thought, were done really, really well. Sometimes absolutely batshit crazy. And I love that. I love that about the way they did that. But the way that you had someone like Snoop Dogg embrace the whole thing and kind of caricature the vibe of the whole thing, that really made my year for me. If I'm looking at one thing that really tickled me this year. Chris, mate, we're going to leave the best till last.
Okay.
No pressure.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of that. So my favorite world event would also be the Olympics. Of all the shit that's happened in the world this year.
That's cool.
The Olympics, as I'm not a sporty guy at all, but we always get into the Olympics, and it's just, I'm always bummed when it's finished. It's like, it's such a positive thing to watch, and I just love it. I love it so much. But yeah, Snoop Dogg being a part of it was rad. So I've got that written down as like an honourable mention. I loved it. But then I've got like a random, don't even know if you can call it a world event, but it's a thing that took place in 2024 that me and Michelle followed and thoroughly enjoyed, and were ultimately inspired by. So there's a guy from down south, Andy, where you're from, that goes, he's called Russ Cook, but he's known on the internet as the hardest geezer. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this guy, Andy.
No.
So he's a bit of a YouTube, I won't call him a sensation, but he's been on YouTube a long time, and he's done some stupid things to prove that he is the hardest geezer. Does that translate, Sean?
I believe so. I think it's translating. Yeah.
Cool. And this year, he started it last year, but finished it this year. he undertook something called Project Africa, and he became the first person in history to run the full length of Africa.
Wow.
And
Nice.
he documented it all, and you can watch it all on YouTube, and it is the most batshit crazy, insane journey I've probably ever witnessed by a human being. The guy's thoroughly entertaining, but also extremely motivational.
Excellent.
And
I'm gonna have to share
the
this with
amount of-
Madison. She's gonna love
the
this.
amount of things that go wrong is just ridiculous. They get robbed at gunpoint. He gets kidnapped at one point and taken into the Congo, and he's in a tent surrounded by people with machetes, and he thinks that's it, game over. It's crazy. They get malaria, like they get robbed by pirates while they're on crossing some rivers. It's mental. It really is crazy. But throughout it all, his positivity and outlook on life is just inspirational.
I've never seen
And
it. I must have never seen it.
it
Sounds-
is,
That was hilarious.
yeah. When when he finished it, it was like truly one of the most, because we'd followed the journey and gone on the highs and lows of him like every week through the YouTube series. It's one of the most emotional things I've seen. So yeah, I don't know if you can call that a world event, but it was certainly an event in our lives.
It counts. It counts in my book.
Count. Everything
Thoroughly recommended.
Everything
Project
counts.
Africa by the hardest geezer.
Excellent. Gentlemen, I think we did it. I think we've proven that there's some good shit out there. I think we've proven that we've actually got some really good taste. And I think that we've proven that actually out of what could have been perceived as a particularly dog shit year for many reasons, many different reasons, we've actually had some pretty good stuff coming out of it. So thank you very much for thinking about those questions and putting some time in.
Hell yeah, buddy. Those are good questions. I like it. I like the spin on that we did on it.
Oh, I love making a good list, Andy. You know I do. I love a good list. So thank you for inviting me on and making me
man, you
make,
know,
make a list.
I kind of feel like we're kind of one. We're turning into one homogenous podcast these days, anyway. Between the work that you guys are doing on Just Crafting, and by the way, plug for that. You folks that are out there, every once in a while, when Ed Boss Art gets out of bed, both these gentlemen will partner up with
You
Ed
won't hear
Boss
this.
Art. No,
You won't hear this.
They partner up and they talk about their love of crafting. All three of them get involved in various ways of being creative one way or another, and it's a really, really good yarn. If you even if you're like me, you're a novice and you admire what these guys do from afar. It's a really, really good yarn, and they go into an awful lot of detail of type of work that they're working on at the moment, but also the kind of techniques that they're using, the mistakes that they're making, and how they can improve. It's some really, really good stuff there. So, without further ado, we will wrap up this evening. But it will not be too long until we hear Chris again, because as I said, we have part 2 of our collecting episode that we need to talk to Chris and Ken about, to talk about their extensive knowledge of collecting and being collectors, and dragging me down that rat hole as well. But in the meantime, all it is for me is to say to Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your friendship, my friend. Thank you for everything that you've done for us, the amazing artwork that you've done for us. And I wish you and your beautiful family a happy new year, and we will see you very, very soon. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say on the way out?
Just, I'll throw it back at you, Andy. Thank you again for having me on. Andy and Sean, thank you both for your friendship. You're absolutely awesome. Love you both to bits. So glad that you're part of this little corner of the internet that we've got. Love chatting to you both, and yeah, happy New Year to you both too.
We're like a little Hobbiton in the world, the shit world of Middle Earth. We're just all hanging out, having a good old time. That's kind of how I picture our little community. We're just a bunch of little hobbits hanging out.
We do them in point. Sean, thank you, mate. Happy New Year. If I don't speak to you before, give my love to Madison. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Sean, why don't you take us out, mate?
I can do that. Be sure to check out Chris. Thank you. Thank you so much for hopping on. You can check out Chris and the other scruffy guys on the Scruffy Looking Podcasters. You can go to their website, scruffypod.com. That's a killer. It's great. It's fantastic. You can check them out there. You can check out Andy on the weekly reviews of Star Wars Spelt Out. He's killer. He's holding down the fort over there. Good stuff. You can find us, Just Shillin', at justshillin.com, where you can find all sorts of stuff. Links to our social media, Just Crafting episodes, all that kind of fun stuff there. Thank you to everybody who listens. Thank you to everybody who sends us feedback. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us this long. It's awesome. I love it. I love doing this. I love getting to hang out with my friends, speculate I love having a captive audience to hear my crazy theories. It really is like therapy for me. It's so good. And I'm sure Madison appreciates it as well. So thank you to everybody out there for all of that. And until see everybody in 2025, it's been a good old time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I got.
Bye.
Bye. See.